I have a fascinating video that you must see and listen to. It's regarding Noah and the flood. This is going to be some information you have never heard before. Well, you may have, but I don't think you're going to hear it the way I'm going to present it here. Um, this is a must. If you're going to watch any of my videos, watch this one and listen to what I'm going to tell you here. You will be you have to really listen and understand. Okay, let's get into it right away here. Okay, there's the Lord God right here. See this Lord? This Lord is communicating with Noah. Okay, Lord, this is Yahweh. Okay, just so you know, when you see the word Lord, that's Yahweh. When you see the word God, that is the Elohim. Okay, now, within the story of Noah, you're going to hear things that the Elohim said, and you're going to hear things that the Lord said. Okay, you have to make a distinction. I want to tell you this right up front. It matters and it's different. Okay, we all know the story. Okay, they're going to take these things by sevens. Okay, Noah, this is Lord. The Lord said, take these animals by sevens. You're going to take them by sevens. Okay, because he said, I have all the things that I have made. Okay, right here, every living substance that I have made. Okay, word is not create. This is made. Okay, a little bit different. I will destroy off the face of the earth. Now listen real closely. Where is he going to destroy off? What location is he going to destroy from? This is very important. He's going to destroy off the face of the earth. Okay, now, if you're on the face of the earth, you will be destroyed. But if you're not on the face of the earth, will you be destroyed? Will you be destroyed if you're not on the face of the earth? I think anybody can agree. He said he's going to destroy it from the face of the earth. Well, you think the earth is just a spinning ball in outer space. But let's take a quick look at who was removed from the face of the earth, okay? You know the story of Cain? Cain, what he did, and he was talking to the Lord, same Lord. Now watch this, okay? When his punishment, he gets a punishment. The Lord, his punishment is greater than I can bear. Okay, now listen very closely. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from where? The face of the earth. Okay, he's out of the face of the earth, and from thy face I shall be hid. So we can all make an assumption that he's not going to be on the face of the earth. Who says Cain will not be on the face of the earth? Okay, where is he going to be? Where is Cain going to be? And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord, Yahweh, and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. Okay, so Cain is not on the face of the earth. He was driven out and he was hid. He was put somewhere. Where did he go? To the land of Nod. Now you have to ask yourself, is the land of Nod on the face of the earth? I just showed you right here. The land of Nod is not on the face of the earth. Okay, so is Cain's lineage destroyed? Absolutely not. Is Cain's, and I proved it to you right here. So let's just get that right out of the way. Cain is not on the face of the earth. So Cain and his lineage is not being destroyed. Okay, he's going to destroy off the face of the earth. Okay, right here tells you where he's going to destroy off. Okay, now. And the animals were sevens. You see this up here? But this was the Lord said. Okay, now, we're going to see what the Elohim said. We're going to see what the Elohim said. They that are of every beast of his kind and cattle of their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, and every bird of the sort. So this is these are going in too. Now, why? Okay, why this? They're going in two, but they're going 2 and 2, 2 and 2. Okay, 2 and 2. We're going 2 and 2, 2. Not not by sevens. Okay, now, and listen to this. And they went into the Noah's Ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, where now this is something different now. Now they're going to tell you that, and including all these other, the birds and beasts and everything, now there's going to be somebody else that's going in 2 by 2, okay? So, and they went into the ark, and also, in other words, also went into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh. Now it's going to be talking about the ones that were formed by Yahweh. Listen, we're in the breath of life, okay? Breath of life. These are different, okay? When you look at ones that have the breath of life, this is going to be a man, okay? It's only regarding man. Now you have to get into this information, you have to go back to Genesis 2. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man gets the breath of life. Man gets the breath of life. Okay. So now we know that man, this is, not only the animals up here, and also they went to the ark, 2 of flesh, where it has the breath of life. But I'm going to tell you that there's more than just Noah and his 3 sons. There is more than that. Okay. They went into, but these were commanded as God commanded him. So Elohim commanded. So now 2 of 2, they want to bring in more. And then the Lord God shut him in. But so you're going back and forth here. You're going back and forth. Okay. Now, who died? Who died? We know Cain's lineage is off the face of the earth. Okay, so look at here. 15 cubits upward, the water prevailed, and the mountains were covered, and all flesh died that moveth upon the earth, both fowl and cattle and beasts, and everything that creepeth upon the earth. Now listen here very closely how they translated this. And every man, colon. See, colon. Now it's going to tell you, which follows a colon tells you, okay, what type of man? What type of man? Okay, what does it say here? All in whose nostrils was the breath of life. So this man, the ones that had the breath of life, because there was other men. There was the Elohim in the beginning created man to have dominion. There was ones that were in the likeness and image of the Elohim. But this is the servant man. You have to look at my other videos about Adam and the tilling man. You look at that video, it tells you about this man that they engineered for service work. So these are the men of service work. They want to keep it for the next after the reset. They want to keep some of their servicemen. But these men, the ones that have the breath of life, or the servicemen, they're going. But of all that was in the dry land. So the ones that were not included on that vessel, they were rejected. Okay, those servants were rejected for one reason or another. So, but the one, if you didn't get in 2 by 2 on that vessel, you're being rejected. Okay, so now you got to look at they tell you who remained alive. And this is here, and Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. But you have to understand that there was 2 and 2 of these types of men that went in there, but it doesn't tell you the ones that have the breath of life. That's a man. Okay, so that's why I'm telling you there's more men that went into this ark, and these were the ones that had the breath of life. The breath of life. Okay, so if you can digest that, that's great. I mean, I know I'm telling you things that you never heard before, or the story that how whatever. I know we know the fame of the story of Noah, but we need to look and analyze the book. And if you research the way I'm researching, you'll come to the same conclusion. Now, very interesting. Now, okay, so God remembered Noah. God remembered Noah and every living thing, and the ark. We know the story. It went on a mountain, and we know that. We all know that. Okay. And we saw the waters subsided, and we know the story. And what I wanted to show you, um, he they wanted to have all these animals and breed abundantly and be fruitful and multiply after this ark was on this dry land, and then go forth out of the ark, okay, and everything that's with you, and you multiply on the earth, okay, but still it's not telling you like the ones that have the breath of life are on that ark. Okay. Now, what was the first thing that Noah did when he left the ark? Well, the first thing that he did right here, and Noah built an altar unto the Lord, which is Yahweh. Yahweh. Now you have to understand, Yahweh, is that the Most High God? You can ask a question in Google right now. Is Yahweh the Most High God? It's going to tell you no. No, he was they say he was a lesser God. Or if you're a lesser God, then you have somebody over you. So if you're Elohim and you are in the likeness and image of the Elohim, yes, you can become Yahweh or a Lord of what he has rulership and dominion, kingship over. Because after all, Genesis 1, the ones that have dominion are the rulers that are designated. Yahweh is one of them. Okay, you have to understand when you read this book, this Lord is one of the sons of the Elohim, the ones that were made in the likeness and image of Elohim. So this is not the God of all. I know it's hard to. I got other videos on this. You have to look at my other videos and approve everything that I say here. So first thing he does is build an altar. Okay, so now he has, so that's a very significant thing because he goes in the way of Yahweh. Noah goes into the way of Yahweh. So Noah likes Yahweh. Okay, first thing he does. Now, but he says here, God, now we're back to God now. Bless Noah and his sons. He told them to be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Okay, and you're going to be ruling on the earth. You guys will be ruling on the earth. But it says here, but the flesh with the life thereof, which is in the blood thereof, you shall not eat. Okay, and the blood is required. In other words, you're not going to live a full life here. But guess what God was telling you? He didn't want you to kill or do anything. The God was good. This God was good. Now, what happened? What happened? Because this God was establishing things with Noah and the sons, and Canaan was part of the sons, and this everything was good. The thing was good. What God said, it was just good, and He established a rainbow. Everything was good that this God said. But all of a sudden, this is what happened with Noah. Okay, you have to look at this is what happened to Noah, and Noah began to be a husbandman. Now, he built an altar to Yahweh. He never forget Yahweh. He likes Yahweh. Okay, he likes Yahweh. So when he began to be a husbandman, okay, that means he's gonna have a belief system, okay, that he's gonna plant. He wants to plant. This belief system he's gonna plant, and he's gonna plant his vineyard. Okay, he's gonna plant his vineyard. This has nothing to do with grapes or anything. Okay, this is this vineyard or this belief system that he's going to have and hold and try to set out in the world is going to be from Yahweh. Because right here it says, "Blessed be Yahweh, the God of Shem." See, Yahweh, because he likes what they're going to do here, and I'm going to show you what this means. This is a very misinterpreted verse, and it's very hard to understand. But I'm going to tell you how it is, what I see here. And I don't know, who are you, but I'm going to tell you this is what this means. You could take it for how you want to believe it, but I'm going to show you something you probably never saw before. So I'm going to keep going here. This belief system that Noah has, he's going to drink the wine of this, okay? He's going to drink the wine of this whole thing about this belief system. And he was drunk. He was drunken on this, okay? So he was really, because he began to do this. He began to do this thing. And it was kind of strange because Yahweh has got, a hold of Noah. And he built the altar to Noah. So he's communicating. That's the first thing Noah did. So he's talking with Noah, telling him who he was and trying to get his belief system into Noah. Noah bought it, and he's pressing forward with Yahweh's belief system. Okay, which is this is where it all began, this belief system. And he was uncovered within his tent. In other words, he was uncovered, meaning this belief system had, you can see that this was not true. That's what it's telling you. You're going to be able to see that it's going to be exposed for what it is, that is a false doctrine, and it's not correct. It's against the Elohim, which is God. It's going to be Yahweh's thing from here on out. And what Yahweh does, it's atrocities with the Hebrews and how they kill nations. And you got to read this book. It's nothing good that came from Yahweh. If you find something good, what they did with the Hebrews when they left Egypt, let me know. But never did anything good with them. So now Ham, look at this. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father. Okay, in other words, this nakedness, which you can equate it to like sin or something that wasn't true, okay, of his father. And he was enamored by this. He goes, man, look at this. My dad is, he's talking his Yahweh stuff and doing all the stuff with Yahweh. And, and he told his two brothers. See, right? He told his two brothers without. And Shem and Japheth, you know what? They took a garment and laid it upon their shoulders. Okay? And look at this. Then he went backwards and covered the nakedness of their father. In other words, when they heard about it, they did not want to they went backwards. In other words, they just covered the nakedness of his fathers. They did not want to go there with what he was doing with Yahweh. They just said, that he's going to do what he did, and they did not want to, disrupt what his father was doing, and they didn't want, and even though their brother Ham said, hey man, this stuff, look what he's doing, you know what I mean? And they said, you know what, we know it's something that's not right. Because they knew it was nakedness. In other words, if you're naked, if somebody can see your nakedness, they can see your sin, okay, your sin, okay, or something that you're doing that is they can see it. They can see it. You can't hide this. So, but they went backwards. They put a garment. They covered it up. They didn't want to, and they went backwards. In other words, they say when you walk backwards, I mean you really walk backwards. You can't see. You don't really know what's going to happen. And their faces were backwards. So they said, you know what? We don't even want. We don't. And they and we kind of, this is what he wants to do, and it makes sense to us. You know what I mean? So we're going to walk more backward. And they saw not their father's nakedness. So in other words, they didn't understand. They thought that the father was telling them good things. So, but he wasn't telling them good things. And Noah awoke from his wine. In other words, when you awoke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done to him, in other words, he knew that Ham was trying to tell him about this God Yahweh, and you better watch it. But he did, and he said, you know what? I know you're trying to use your brothers and tell them that I'm cuckoo. I'm becoming his husband, and I planted my vineyard, and I'm doing what I was taught on the altar that Yahweh gave me, and I know what you're trying to do, but it's not going to work. We got a God, and this is one we're following. This is our God. We're following it, and that was it. And he said, look at this. Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall be to his brother. Okay, so now, Ham and his offspring, they if you're not going to follow this God, if you're not going to follow Yahweh, well, you got a problem, because we don't want you anymore. You're not following the God that we're establishing on the altar that Noah established when he came off the ark. And he said, blessed be the Lord God of Shem. Look, and he said, blessed be the Lord God of Shem. So now he says, this is our God. This is our God. And if you don't believe in this, you're going to be, look, there's not there. You're a servant. You ain't nothing. You're going to be a servant. Look at this. But he didn't see, blessed the Lord God of Shem. See, Shem is where everything comes from in the future. And they know it, the Lord God of Shem. And so he was told, Yahweh told him about Shem and his offspring. But he's going to enlarge Japheth, because Japheth walked back. He was contrary to that belief. And he didn't want to go contrary to the belief. And he's going to dwell in the tents of Shem. So he's going to be in confederacy with his brother. They're going to both do this thing that Noah is establishing with Yahweh. And Canaan will be his servant. See, so now you've got to fast forward. What happened to Canaan? The Lord God told Shem's descendants, Shem's descendants, which was the Hebrews or the Israel, whatever you want to call it, to go ahead and go into the land of Canaan and destroy all men, women with child, old people, and destroy them from the face of the earth. Okay, because Canaan, the people of Canaan did not recognize Yahweh or the Lord as their God. They did not want to recognize that this was the God of all, because they knew. They know that this. They knew that this was not the Most High God. And if everyone said that this Lord or Yahweh is the Most High God, then you really got to research who Yahweh is at this point, because you're going to have to understand that Yahweh is not the Most High God. And, Canaan was right. He's not the Most High God. Okay, he was right. And this God is the man of war, according to the Bible. The jealous one, the jealous God. He's a jealous God, and he will be a God to these people. Israel will be his God, his people, and he will be their God. Okay, and Canaan was trying to tell his brothers, but they did not. They were on board with Noah's doctrines were. This is the story. Very interesting. I hope you like this video. If you like it, like and subscribe. I'm going to make more. Take it easy. Bye.